Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Denise. Like she has said, Parent Connections in conjunction with ArminArm, Trenton Public Schools, as well as All Kids Thrive, presenting to you Know Your Renters' Rights. Welcome. So just some housekeeping rules for those of you who are participating in the Zoom. Mute your microphones upon arrival and during the presentation. Maybe we'll start at 5 p.m. sharp like we did. Please do not use the chat while the speaker is presenting. You'll be able to use the chat later on for questions like Denise had mentioned. If you choose to use a web camera, make sure it's in a stable position so you're not too distracting. And I'll let, a few seconds go by for those of you who might need to, read a little bit of that. But I believe most of you will probably been on, similar meetings like this, that Denise has probably hosted, and also the Trenton Public School System. So, okay. Welcome to you all. Just the list of some speakers we have tonight. We have Cynthia Mendez, Luis Rivera, Elisa Advani, Tabitha Clark, Jackie Edwards, and Phoebe Brown. Organizations represented tonight: ArminArm, Trenton Public Schools, All Kids Thrive, Central Jersey Legal Services, Village Resources, and Homefront. So to begin, we have Cynthia Mendez, the Director of Housing Stability for ArminArm, to give her part of the presentation.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. As Sharif said, my name is Cynthia Mendez, and I'm the Director of Housing Stability Services for ArminArm. I'm here to talk to you about some of the things that are going on, and we do have legal representation here who will elaborate even further on some of the things I'm going to touch upon. But I'm also going to touch upon how you can get in touch with us and some community resources besides Village Resources and Homefront, who I would like to thank for joining us this evening. They are some of our community partners, and we do work arm in arm with them to provide assistance, rental assistance, mortgage assistance, utilities. We do food and security deposits. So thank you, Phoebe and Jackie, for taking the time out this evening, and as well as Tabitha and Alyssa from Central Jersey Legal Services. We work with them as well. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Denise, for allowing us to do this for the parents of Trenton, of the Trenton Public School District. So as you may or may not have heard, there's an eviction moratorium that is in place that was signed, I believe, back in March or April, and Tabitha and Alyssa will correct me on that, I'm sure. But this moratorium put a hold on people paying rent, but you're still obligated to pay your rent. So the moratorium has recently been extended for another 30 days. Like I said, this does not exempt you from paying rent. You should make every effort to continue to pay your rent in full, and if you can't, talk to your landlord, to try to make a payment plan or pay something towards it. Because this moratorium, eviction moratorium, will eventually be lifted, and you are going to owe back rent. You may use your security deposit towards your back rent. However, you will need to replenish your security deposit upon renewal of your lease. And there's another stipulation which I couldn't find, but I know Tabitha and Alyssa will help me out with that. The Mercer County court system has been issuing eviction notices and setting up mediation meetings with landlords and tenants. If you receive an eviction notice, you should consider contacting Central Jersey Legal Services or Community Health Law Project for legal advice. And there are community resources if you are in need of back rent, security deposit, mortgage assistance, and utilities. Please give them and us a call to see if they can assist you. And I know with ArminArm, immigration status does not matter. So with that being said, I'm gonna give you a little more detail about ArminArm's process and how we do things. So you can give us a call at 609-396-9355, extension 11. If you leave a message, please speak clearly and slowly. Leave your name, a phone number where you can be reached, and let us know what type of assistance you are looking for, if it's back rent, security, mortgage, utilities, or if you are in need of food. If you want to send us an email, you can. We can be reached at info@arminarm, all lowercase, .org, O-R-G, and it's arm, I-N, arm, .org. Please include your name and a phone number. We get a lot of emails from people, and it's just an email address. And it's just easier if you have a phone number that we can call you. We can pick up the phone and call you when we receive it to do a pre-screening. And again, let us know what type of assistance you are in need of. We will get back to you within 2 to 3 business days. One of my program coordinators or the program assistants will call you back and do a pre-screening to determine if you are eligible. If you are eligible, they will ask for some additional documentation that you will have to send over to us. All of our services are currently remote for homelessness prevention. So you will have to send that documentation over. So when we call you back, please be prepared to tell us the type of assistance that you need. If you have an eviction notice or a mortgage default or foreclosure letter or a shut-off notice for either electric and gas or water. We do not pay cable bills. We do not pay phone bills. Or if you want a security deposit, and if you need a security deposit, we need to know why you need to move. We need to know the source of incomes in the household for all adult members in the household. If your children receive SSI, we will need to know that as well. If your children receive SSI, you need to go to the Board of Social Services and apply there first for emergency assistance. And if they deny you, we'll need to see the denial letter. So they're going to have to send you a denial letter showing why they denied you that assistance. So with the source of income, we need to know the source of income, if it's employment, if it's unemployment, if it's pension, like I said, if it's SSI, if it's TANF, whatever the source is, we need to know. We need to know the amount and the frequency. So we usually ask for 30 days of income. So if you get paid every 2 weeks, we need 2 pay stubs. If you get paid every week, we need 4 pay stubs. And it needs to be for the last 30 days. If it's the SSI or SSD, we need to see your annual award letter for 2020. If it's pension, they usually send out an annual letter as well, or you can show us a bank statement that shows what the pension is and what the monthly amount is if you have direct deposit. And we also will need to know the household size because our program is based on income levels and household size. We look at somewhere between 200 to 300% of the federal poverty level. We have some new funds that are coming in where the poverty level and household size, or the poverty level can be up to 450% of the federal poverty level. So that's really quite high. So these are the questions that we'll ask. And if you can answer them as thoroughly as possible, it will make our job easier determining eligibility. If you are eligible, you will have to send some of this stuff over, including IDs, birth certificates, social security cards, a copy of your lease or research paper, or recertification, if you live in any type of subsidized housing. Once we get that, we will call you back, do an intake, determine what the amount of assistance is. We've been very fortunate. We've had an increase in our funding, so we can be a little more generous than we have been in the past. But it is on an individual basis, so there's no set amount that we offer people. And I know people always ask when I talk to them, well, how much can you help me with? And I can't say generally. Again, I stress it is on an individual basis. And we take into consideration what you owe, what is your source of income, sustainability. Are you able to afford this going forward? And we determine from there. But the bottom line is we're trying to make you whole, meaning that we're trying to get you down to a zero balance or an affordable payment plan that is sustainable going forward. And like I said, because we have different funding streams, immigration status does not really matter to us. So please give us a call at 609-396-9355, extension 11, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. I'm done, Sharik. Thank you all again for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Next, we have Tabitha Clark with Central Jersey Legal Services.
Good evening. Thank you, Trenton Public Schools and ArminArm for inviting us to speak tonight. My name is Tabitha Clark, and I'm a housing attorney with Central Jersey Legal Services. Our office on 198 West State Street is open in a limited capacity by appointment only. However, all of our staff are working remotely, so we're available by phone, email, regular mail, fax, and you can also use the mail slot at our office door to drop off documents. We're taking in new clients every day and are available to assist eligible clients with legal advice or representation. Our program does have citizenship requirements, so you must at least be a legal permanent resident in order to receive legal advice from our office with regards to housing matters. We primarily serve low-income clients. However, for senior citizens, there are no income restrictions. Recently, we received a community development block grant funding through the CARES Act, which allows us to assist specifically City of Trenton residents with higher incomes than our normal income guidelines, with evictions and foreclosures related in some way to COVID-19. So if you've contacted us for housing assistance in the past and haven't qualified due to income guidelines and you live in the City of Trenton, please do feel free to reach out to us again to see if you qualify under this new program. So the coronavirus pandemic has affected so many people's lives, their ability to keep a job or find a job, and the ability to keep up with rent payments. This has resulted in a number of protections from the government in the name of public safety. As Cynthia mentioned, evictions due to non-payment of rent have been postponed, and we want to explain what some of these new changes mean and what they don't mean. Again, as Cynthia mentioned, rents are still due and owing and have not been waived by any executive order or other law. So even though right now your landlord might not be able to physically remove you from a property, eviction cases can still be filed in court. Court offices are open and have been processing landlord complaints. Many cases are being scheduled for virtual settlement conferences, but there are no trials at this time. This means that even if an eviction case has been filed against you, we do not know when courts will open up again to public for hearings. So if you want to participate in a landlord-tenant settlement conference with the court, we want to explain that process and suggest that you seek legal advice prior to attending any settlement conference. The settlement conferences are 100% voluntary. There are no negative consequences to not attending a settlement conference. In landlord-tenant trials, usually if a tenant misses his court date, a default judgment can be entered against him. If a tenant fails to attend a virtual settlement conference, however, the case simply gets postponed to a trial date and no judgment enters for failing to appear at a settlement conference. It's important to note that if you do attend a settlement conference, this is via Zoom over the computer, like this seminar today, or you can call in. You'll have an opportunity to speak with either the landlord or the landlord's attorney and discuss settlement terms. In most cases, if an agreement is reached, a court mediator will draft the agreement on a form called consent to enter judgment. So this could mean that if you make a payment plan and then default on it, you're agreeing that a judgment can be entered against you and the landlord can proceed with a warrant of removal without taking you to court for a trial. Most of the time, settling your case means waiving your right to a trial in the future. So absolutely reach out to our office so that we can discuss with you if you qualify your specific options and the best way to move forward. So what can tenants do if they can't pay their rent? Well, as Cynthia mentioned, under Executive Order number 128, tenants can use their security deposit funds towards outstanding rent. So the deposit either has to be replenished within 6 months after the state of emergency or upon the renewal of the lease, whichever date is later. So your security deposit isn't automatically applied to the rent balance. You have to send in a written request to the landlord, and that can be either through email, text, or regular mail, asking to have the security deposit paid towards rent. If you're not able to pay the rent in full, try to make partial payments at least. This will show goodwill to your landlord and will also reduce the total amount that you'll have to pay once courts reopen and evictions and lockouts are allowed again. It's important to note that landlords cannot engage in self-help behavior during the moratorium. What that means is they can't lock you out without seeking permission from a judge and giving you due process. So if you find that you've been locked out, first, contact your local police department and see if they will help you to get back in. Next, if they're unable to do so, you would contact our office so that we could determine if legal representation is appropriate in that case and talk about filing an emergency motion with the court to get you back in. One of the other things that we're seeing recently, or rather, let me go back really quickly. I know some people may have questions about the CDC moratoriums. I'm just going to touch on that really quickly. The CDC put out a moratorium that lasts from September 4th until December 31 of this year. New Jersey's moratorium, our protections are greater. They are now, the eviction moratorium is till the end of January 2021. So the New Jersey moratorium automatically applies to you. You don't have to swear on an affidavit or certification to anything. You simply are protected. The CDC moratorium, on the other hand, you do have to provide your landlord with a sworn affidavit swearing to a number of things, such as your income level, that you've been making your best efforts to make payments and have been trying to exhaust all available assistance, whether it be through governments or agencies. And so it affords you no greater protection than the New Jersey moratorium. It does not stop landlords from being able to file eviction actions in court. So long story short, CDC moratorium isn't necessarily something that you need to concern yourself with because thankfully the protections in New Jersey are much broader and more expansive. So the last thing that I'm going to touch on is the habitability issues. I know right now with the courts being closed, a lot of families are experiencing difficulties with getting necessary repairs to their home, whether related to heat or gas or water damage. The first thing that you'll want to do, the answer to this question depends on whether or not your landlord's already filed an eviction complaint based on non-payment. If they haven't filed, you'll want to reach out to your landlord and put them on notice that you're going to withhold the next month's rent and subsequent rents until the issues are addressed. You want to be sure to detail what the issues are and how they affect your ability to use your home. Then you'll want to hold each month's rent in escrow until the issues are fixed or they take you to court. If the issues get fixed, you pay the withheld rent and keep it moving. If the landlord files or simply takes too long to address the issues, contact the city inspector. They can provide you with a report listing all of the violations, and you'll need that if the matter goes to court. Under any circumstances, be sure to take detailed photos of any problem areas. Even though landlord-tenant trials are not being held, the court's still hearing habitability issues. If you're scheduled for a settlement conference, you can inform the judge that you're raising a habitability defense, and he will schedule a hearing to determine if the withheld rent should be deposited in court. This may limit your ability to relocate if your funds are tied up in court. Eventually, every case is different, and it's important for you to contact our office to talk through the specifics of your case. So with that, if you have a legal question or need advice, you can help us give you the best advice for your specific situation by sharing documents once you become a client. And again, for our contact information, we can be reached at 609-695-6249. Again, that's 609-695-6249. And that concludes my prepared presentation.
Thank you, Tabitha. Next, we have Jackie Edwards, the Executive Director of Village Resources.
Hello. So Village Resources is a nonprofit organization. We are located at 200 Mott Street, Trenton, and our telephone number is 609-599-2700. And our website is there, but if you want to email us, you can email us at info@villageresourcesnj.org. At Village Resources, we provide a variety of services for individuals and families. One service that we provide is rapid rehousing. and that's for families only. Rapid rehousing is a short-term intervention to supporting individuals and families that are homeless. We provide rental assistance to families, short-term, up to anywhere from 3 to 6 months of rental assistance. We also provide housing location. So if you are looking for housing and you cannot locate housing, we have a housing locator that works with us and that can help you to assist you in finding housing as well. We work with landlords who may are interested in working with individuals that may have multiple evictions. So we do work with landlords, and we have a pool of landlords that we've worked with in the past and that are willing to work with people who may have had previous evictions. For that particular service, you would contact us at the information that's listed above on the screen, and we would do an intake with you to determine whether you're eligible at that time. And so we would just ask that you contact, each case is an individual case, and we determine, based on, your information when you contact us. We also provide prevention assistance, and that's for individuals or families. And with prevention assistance, we will pay for utilities, back rent, security deposit. Just as Cynthia mentioned earlier, we do not pay telephone bills, nor do we pay for cable. And if you have your back rent or utility may be greater than what we can provide, assistance we can provide, we do network with the other service providers like ArminArm and Homefront to be able to try and see if we can get assistance to make you whole. We also provide what is called intensive case management, and that's an intensive case management service that provides rental assistance and rental assistance for individuals up to, it could be anywhere up to 12 months, and we provide case management. That service is for individuals who are on Social Security who have maxed out their EA assistance with the Board of Social Services. For that particular program, you would have to be referred by the Board of Social Services. You do not have to be eligible for board services. They have to make the referrals. The other programs, rapid rehousing and prevention, are self-referrals. But for the intensive case management program, you would need to get a referral from the Board of Social Services. We also have assistance that is funded through the Emergency Solutions Grants. It's provided by the CARES Act, and it's for any individual who has a loss of income directly resulted as a result of COVID-19 and the pandemic. We can pay up to 3 months of back rent and late charge fees. So you would contact our office, and the callers are screened and triaged, and then we determine your eligibility based on those particular services. And we are operating remotely, but there's someone in the office 3 days a week. You can drop off information that you need, paperwork. So there's someone there, but we can be reached by phone. And someone will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. And that is pretty much the services that we offer at Village Resources. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jackie. Next up, we have Phoebe Brown, a housing services provider for Homefront.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm glad to see you guys here. Glad to see some familiar faces. So really, Tabitha and Cynthia and Jackie said a lot already. Homefront is a very similar agency to ArminArm and Village Resources. So we too do the back rent if you owe back rent. And we also are able to help with first month's rent and security if you're homeless. We have several different funding sources, and each funding source has different requirements. So there's, and like Cynthia and Jackie were saying before me, you know, each case is different. So if you are in need of some help with back rent owed, or if you are homeless and you need to move, just please give a call to the number on the screen right there, 609-989-9417. You can visit the website too, but calling is a better way to get in contact with us now. 609-989-9417 is the main number. You would dial extension 141 for the emergency hotline. My extension is 149. I'm one of the emergency assistance case managers. And it's, you know, we can talk your case through. If Homefront isn't able to help, you know, everything works better when we work together. So we work best as a team. And, you know, Denise and I have been working together. You know, when things go down like they do in a pandemic, you know, everybody needs some help. So why not? If you think you might be able to get some help with the back rent, utilities, security deposit, mortgage, anything. If you need help signing up for LIHEAP for your PSE&G bill, you know, there's a lot of help out there. Fortunately, the state has passed, you know, some good, you know, secondary protections. The moratorium is still in place. So like Tabitha and Cynthia were saying, you will not be evicted right now. And it just got extended again, thank God. So now the new date is the end of January. But that is coming up soon. It will be here before you know it. And if you do owe some back rent, it's really best not to wait till the last minute. So it's better to get a jump on it now, start calling Homefront and the other agencies and see what we could do. Same thing with utilities. You know, you're not gonna get shut off right now, but come springtime, who knows, right? So just give us a call. We'll see what we could do. Another thing is we are open. I am in the office pretty much every day, and we are open for food bags. We also are doing diapers too. So if you have little ones that need diapers, you can come and get a pack of 50 diapers once per month, along with your food bag. And we have local farms and restaurants donating stuff. So we have pretty sweet food bag these days. And Sharik, are the days and hours up on the next slide? The hours for food bags are Mondays from 11 to 2, Tuesdays from 3 to 6 p.m., and Thursdays from 11 to 2. You do not need any documents. You don't need to bring anything with you. We just need to put your information into the computer. So we have your name and address and stuff, but you don't need to bring anything with you to get a food bag. For rental assistance, either back rent or for moving, we will need a bunch of documents, but you know, we'll work through it together, because you know, it can be a little bit overwhelming applying for these services, but you know, your case manager has done this a bunch of times before, so we know how to get your application